The Gardeners by Owen Harper. It was a beautiful and perfect day, one among many beautiful and perfect days. A soft breeze played among the trees, whispering sweet thoughts to the man and woman who worked among the flowers and fruit-bearing shrubs. There was a lovely aroma in the air, and nearby a small brook warbled over the stones. The man and woman pulled an occasional weed that had taken root among the flower beds. The sun was warm but pleasantly so, and felt wonderful on bare skin. In the trees, birds sang merrily and flitted from branch to branch. Squirrels watched from the boughs as the man and woman brought small containers of water to the flower beds. "This is good work," said the man. "This is what we were made for. And there is in this work the happiness that we were promised." The woman did not answer, for her thoughts were elsewhere. But the man did not seem to notice her silence, and so she kept her own thoughts. When the sun was overhead, the man picked fruit from the trees and brought it to the woman, along with some honey and milk that he had gotten from his explorations in the garden. They shared the meal together, and as they sat and listened to the water and the birdsong, the man yawned. "Let us take our afternoon rest," he told the woman. "We will do more work in the later day." "Yes," she said, "let us rest." He was soon asleep on an interlaced bed of soft grasses. She sat by his side for a time, and then, restless, she quietly rose and made her way into the forest. Walking through the woods was pleasant, and the shade was dark and inviting. After a while, she made her way to the place that had consumed her thoughts in recent days. In a small clearing there was a great tree, larger than all of the other trees of the forest. Among its boughs were many small flowers of the most delicate, pure, and beautiful white hue, flowers that were unlike any others that she knew in the forest. Sighing, she sat at the base of the great tree, listening to the breeze stirring its branches, and she felt that the sounds were caresses meant only for her. "Surely," she thought, "this is the most beautiful of all of the trees, and it is here that I can learn more of beauty in those things that are the most important." Behind her, in the soft grasses, there was a quiet stirring, but she did not look round, for she knew what she would see. "You have come," said her friend, his voice little more than a whisper. "Yes, as you knew I would," she said. "I have thought of you this day and of this great tree, and I have longed to be here." "It is right that your wisdom has brought you here," he said, "for here is where you may learn much of those things that you wish to know." "You are my friend and my teacher," she said, "and I do wish to know." "In knowledge there is freedom, freedom from those who would enslave you and keep you in ignorance through all of your days here under the sun," he said. "Your words are like honey to my soul," she said, and her breath came faster. "Please, my friend, teach me." "I knew that you would come to understand," he said, "for you have needs and desires that have not been fulfilled, and surely their denial has only served to create within you a certain frustration." "Yes," she said eagerly, "I do sense those needs and desires, and I know that I would be whole if I could but achieve them." "And what of the man?" asked her friend. "Does he share the same desires as you to know and understand, and to become the true master of his fate as you do?" "He has not spoken of this," she said, troubled. "But I am certain that he must have the same thoughts and needs that I do. And if I can but come to understand the truth, then I am certain I can share with him and make him see." "Ah, I do perceive that you are ready to cast off the shackles of ignorance in which you have been bound," he said, Our friendship has indeed blossomed, and I am so delighted that you are ready for the final step in the process of enlightenment." "Yes, oh yes," she said. Her heart beat faster, and there was a strange heat rising in her body that she had never known before. She looked into her friend's eyes, eyes that seemed to pierce her soul, and as always was amazed at their beauty. She felt drawn into their depths as a bee to blossoms, enthralled and overwhelmed by the great understanding she saw there. "I believe that the time has come for us to share the fruit of this beautiful tree," he said, and suddenly she knew that it was right and good to do so. She could see the fruit hanging from the branches, and its deep red color and beauty were unlike all other fruits. The desire for the fruit was suddenly like a fire in her flesh, a fire that she did not understand, but very much wished to bring to fulfillment. "I am ready to eat of this fruit," she whispered, gazing into his beautiful eyes. "Splendid," he said, "for in the act of eating of the fruit, you will be released from the bondage of ignorance, and your eyes will be opened to knowledge and freedom. Take of it now and eat." She stood and reached for one of the fruits in the branch above her head. As she did so, she heard a sudden noise, and before she could pull the fruit from the tree, she turned to see the man rushing up to where she stood. In his hand was a large, stout length of wood. Before she could react or cry out, he raised the makeshift cudgel and brought it down on the head of her friend, not once, but many times, striking with all of his strength. There was a terrible shriek that must have come from her friend's throat, a shriek that seemed to freeze her heart. She looked at the man who stood above the beaten body of her friend. His head was turned to pulp, and his beautiful eyes were no longer the deep blue hue that she had loved, but were now a greenish yellow as they stared lifeless at the heavens. "What have you done?" she asked. "He was my friend." He turned and looked upon her face, and there was great anger in his eyes. "Oh, you foolish, foolish woman," he said in a loud, stern voice. "Are you so truly devoid of understanding that you would make the very same fatal error that the others made across the heavens? Would you destroy everything that we have here?" Suddenly, she felt hot tears rolling down her cheeks. "Oh, Tai," she said, and fell at his feet. "Please, oh please, forgive me. I did not realize." "Come, Omi," he said. "We will return to our duties, and you will never return to this place again. Is that understood? We are blessed to be gardeners in this beautiful place, but there are places that we are not allowed to go. This is our purpose, to tend the garden and serve the one who gave us the gift." "Yes, Tai, yes, I do understand," she said. He took her hand and led her back down the path to their work among the pleasant flowers and trees by the warbling brook.